Mr. Frank, good
Mr.
afternoon.
Ricardo.
Good afternoon. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for saying yes to this conversation. People are going to find you very interesting. I'm excited to ask you. I know quite a bit about you. I'm excited to ask you a lot of questions. Please, if I ask you a question that makes you feel uncomfortable, just say, I'm not sure that I want to answer that question, so that, it's okay. You don't have to, um, you know, you don't have to answer all of the questions, just whatever makes you feel comfortable. But because I know so much about you, I may be asking a question that I shouldn't have, okay?
Well, very good. Yeah, I was a little apprehensive about that. We'll keep it. We'll see how it goes. I'm a pretty private person, as you know. I like to keep my business to myself. So this is going out on a limb for me. So let's see how it goes. But I
Yeah.
will not hesitate to say, uh, you know, something else.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No
So,
problem.
so, Frank, let's start there. By the way, I have to say it right away because it's the first thing that came to mind. You are unique among my friends, people I call my friends, because you're a single dad,
Hmm.
and that is mind blowing. It's beyond fascinating to me. The fact that you can make this happen. Um, single man, like it seems to go against everything that's out there, right? So,
Yeah.
first question: how many children do you have?
Two boys,
Okay,
age 9 and 13.
9 and 13. Okay, now you've been a single dad for how long?
About 4.5 years.
4.5 years. Okay. Okay. Um, so and it might be if it's okay with you, could you share with us how you became a single dad?
Yeah, my wife ended up getting diagnosed with brain cancer, and 4 years later, she passed away.
Wow. That so let me fast forward to the following statement. I like how you dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that I see a lot of me in the way that you behave with your boys. It's interesting. You have two
Hmm.
boys. Mine are closer in age
Right.
to each other, but mine are 13 and 12. But
Hmm.
when the strictness with which you speak to them, it reminds me of me, right?
Yeah. I tend to be stern, and I get some pushback from other parents for sure. I think parenting strategies definitely differ, and a lot of people kind of think I'm mean or whatever. But I smother them with love, but I'm pretty stern and strict, and I mean what I say, and I follow through with it too. You know.
I'm sure that 100% of the people who are opining or critiquing your parenting style are judging it against motherhood, and I
Mm.
continue to insist that that's a huge mistake, because men are not women, and fathers are not mothers, and
Mm.
I we have a very specific style, a lot of us.
Right.
Um, and I think that, like you said, as long as we're achieving a balance between that sternness and you said smothering with love, which I do as
Hmm.
well, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
plenty good enough.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll lay down in bed with them and, rub their backs, put them to sleep, give them that softness as best I can. I'm not a woman, but I certainly try to make up for that where I can,
Yeah, and that's
you know.
exactly what I'm saying, Frank. I don't think that we have to be women. I don't think that you have to be a woman.
Mm,
I don't. I really, really, absolutely don't think so. I think that your boys are going to be, they're clearly going to have a different view of the world, because they grew up with a single parent uh, dad. Um,
mm,
and they're going to be, very different from the rest of society, because I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of their friends are going to have been children who grew up raised primarily by a mother.
yeah, sure. Yep.
Yeah, but we're going to see where where those differences might be, how they might,
Hmm.
how they might, um what's the word I'm looking for, how they may um express themselves in their lives. We're going to see that,
Right.
20, 30 years from now. It's going to be very
Hmm.
interesting. Are you curious?
I am. I am. I'm very curious. I've actually gone out of my way to make sure they're well grounded, especially after the death of their mother. I wanted to make sure. There's so many things that I guess could pop up later in life. I was worried about. Are the grades going to suffer? Are there going to be aggression issues? Is there going to be anger issues? Are they going to withdraw? But so far, so good. We took them. I took them to. I guess like a grief counselor kind of person that the hospice offered initially, just to make sure that they were getting off to a good start, because for Frank it was really hard,
The older one.
and the older one, yeah, and we only went a few times, and then we stopped going, but I think it helped. But I really believe they're well grounded. They're getting good grades. They have tons of friends. I mean, I couldn't ask for better, uh, given the circumstances. Even not having gone through what we went through, you couldn't ask for better kids. Frankie's getting to the stage now where he's, you know, kind of, getting to me now and want to hang out with his friends, and I'll give him certain guidelines. Let's say, sure, I'll let you go, do what you want, but make sure you ride your bicycle home by this time. And we're at that stage now where the timeline comes and goes and still not home, so it's like, now what do I do? I gave you some freedom and you blew it, so now where do we go from here? But no,
Yeah.
they're well grounded, they're good boys, and loving every minute.
Yeah, yeah, as you mentioned that story, one of the great things for me, as a parent couple, yes,
Mm-hmm.
how you say it, is that I get to bounce a lot of ideas off of my wife, right? Like she might have some
Right.
ideas. So, for instance, like what I was thinking was that situation where there's where the deadline was missed. It's all on
Right. Right.
you, and
Right.
this is what's so hard about single
Mm-hmm.
parents. I think it's like it's really all on that one parent, and that one parent has to begin to process all of the ifs and thens, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
all the possible
Yeah.
scenarios. What if I don't do, if I'm not stern, what happens? But if I'm too stern, then what happens? All by yourself. And this is what single parents,
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why their lives are so complex with children, because all of they're making decisions for a total of three people, right? All of
Mm-hmm.
and however
Yeah.
many relationships can come out of those three people within them. um yeah, no, it's so funny because at times when I've wanted to be very stern, or I'm being stern, my
Mm-hmm.
wife will jump in and she's like, "Wait, hold on, maybe
Yeah.
you don't have to go that route."
Right.
And then it's like tag, you know, it's like
Sure.
the tag team,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like I'm like, "Oh, okay, so then go ahead, you go," right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
You got to keep the balances. I'm a one person,
yeah,
one man band trying to keep balance, and I try to balance it out, and I'm also real careful not to push them away, because
yeah.
I've heard of people. How many people have you heard of that the kids don't talk to the parents anymore? The parents either have alienated the kids, or the kids alienated the parents, or what have you. I've got clients that's happened to. I've got people I know of that have no relationship with their grown children, and it baffles me. I can't understand it. And things I've heard is that, oh, the dad was really hard on the kids growing up, and I'm like, wow, like how hard was he? Like what does that mean? Like,
Yeah,
you know, um, but yeah, yeah. So I'm careful. You don't want to alienate your kids. That's why I try to smother them with love, give them
yeah,
tons of attention. Um, really do the best I can. I try to do the best I can in everything I do. So
yeah,
this is no different.
yeah. I think that I think that key word, that key term, smothering them with love, is so important. How did you get there? I mean, how did your dad smother you with love, and so that's how you knew that this is what you had to do?
No, quite contrary to that. My dad wasn't real super affectionate. I know he loves us dearly. He expresses himself in other ways. He'll tell you he loves you through a card, not so much from his voice. Um, my mother and I were very close. My mother passed away. She got sick when I was just going into high school with MS. She passed away when I was about 32. but my mom was very, very affectionate. I just think I've been blessed with like just kind of an emotional, affectionate personality. You know, maybe it's just inherited from my mom. I mean, my mom's got Italian background, and also, you know, maybe that has something to do with it. Touchy feely, you know, just kind of affectionate. You know,
Yeah.
and I've always been real close with my mom. I'd always write her little notes and stuff like this, and yeah, maybe it can come from that. You know, I remember how my mother was with me, and I try to remember those things when I'm with my boys, you know,
Yeah.
and try to mimic that.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You picked up this that this a gentleness from your mom,
Right.
and you're applying it as a dad. I like that
Right.
idea.
Yeah. 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 And my mom, unfortunately, my mom did everything. If she wasn't in the school helping, she was, you know, she'd be writing a play, directing a play, doing the artwork for the play. She'd write for the newspaper. If she wasn't writing for the newspaper, she'd be in the newspaper for something she did. She was a registered nurse, so she was always in the schools, always active. Even, you know, my mom would be like an assistant teacher, like a teacher's helper. Even, let's say, you know, the bad kids in school, you know, the trouble kids would be like, Frank, your mom is so cool. They loved her. You know, the kids that hated every teacher loved my mom.
Wow.
You know, that kind of stuff. So she was well liked, very artistic, always involved in school, always around. And then she got sick when I was about 14, and it was chronic progressive MS, kind of the downhill slide, and bedridden for many, many years.
Wow.
It was
That
tough.
Yeah, that must have been extremely rough, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah,
The interesting thing about everything nice that you just said about your mother is that you know, after all these years, I think this is the first time that you've ever told me like all these nice things about her. I guess
yeah,
yeah, maybe I never wanted to ask questions because you know I just felt so bad that she was in bed, and
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and I always you know assumed that you felt really bad about you know her being
yeah,
sick. So
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that's why I never brought it up. But it's so cool to hear that she was such a sweet person, such a great woman.
Yep, yep, very much so. Yep,
Wow. All right. Okay. So you picked up on that's awesome. It's good to know that.
yeah.
I wonder what your boys are gonna say about that. Again, I'm so curious, man. I can't wait
I
to have this.
well,
Yeah.
I am too, especially now because Frankie is a teenager and he wants to hang out with his friends at the park, the same park that you hung out at, because this is your town, right? So
Yeah.
he wants to hang out with his friends, and daddy's kind of getting in the way of his fun, you
Yeah.
know, and I don't let him do it all the time. And especially after our last little encounter here, where I wasn't necessarily around, and I said, because I'm not home and because it's going to get dark early, you know, this is the one thing I need you to do. And it was a bit challenging, but we got through it. He hasn't hung out since, um,
Yeah.
so we'll see where it goes. But
Yeah.
I've got friends who I have interesting. So one of my good friends, he's an older guy, has grown kids now, and his one son, he was telling me, as a young kid, wrote underneath his. You know, my friend didn't see this until many years later. I guess the kid writes under his desk like, "I hate you, Dad," or "I hate,"
Yeah.
you know. And I guess his dad was stern on him
Yeah.
way back when. He writes this under his bed, not to be seen for years later. But his son, not that long ago, I think, thanked him like thanks, Dad, for you know making sure I ate like a human being at the table, and you know you didn't let me eat like an animal, so I don't embarrass myself when I'm older and I go to my girlfriend's house for dinner, or you know. So he actually thanked his dad for thanks for keeping me in line,
Yeah.
and being tough on me when necessary, you know. And I try not to be tough all the time, but I think a lot tougher than a lot of parents,
Yeah.
you know.
So yeah, so let's shift a little bit. You know, but you're also like, I mean, yeah, okay, so let's shift away from that and let's just talk about let's talk about you because I don't see you that often. What I see more of you is your Facebook feed. Let's talk
Hmm.
about that and how you feel that your real life is like the feed, right? Because and so what I've been a part of is you know going out on the dirt bikes, maybe you know
Hmm.
going on the mountain bikes, you know you and I and the boys. Um, and whatever, the go-kart. And so you and I have always been pretty adventurous, and
Hmm.
obviously, like everyone else, because it makes sense. Facebook is a great
Hmm.
place to put up your best memories.
Hmm.
um and so, you also put up pictures of your boys in hockey. So I mean, you do a lot of stuff as a single parent. How the
We
heck do
do.
you do it?
How do I do it? That's a good question. Lately, it seems like it's been at my expense, but I'm doing it for them. I just tell myself these days aren't going to last forever, and I hear from guys who have gone through this stage and now are like, now what do I do? Their kids have grown up just recently, and their kids are now with their girlfriends or whatever, and they don't necessarily need or want to hang out with dad much anymore. So that's one thing that keeps me going, especially when it comes to the hockey. I love hockey. I love playing hockey. I coach hockey with these boys. I coach both of their teams. I'm involved, but sometimes it's just too damn much, and sometimes I just don't want to go. So we have to bag it sometimes. But
You don't,
I
because you're exhausted.
I'm just completely exhausted. Working two jobs basically. Building a house that's keeping me extremely busy. That I got to finish. So the stress and just the pressures of life um, are tough to keep in check. But knowing that they're only young for a little while
Yeah.
kind of keeps me going. And I've learned to back burner work, for good or for bad. I always say work will always be there. These kids are going to grow up. I could work when
Yeah.
another time, or when, and if you know I can't get to a client, or if I can't get to the house, then so be it. I'll get to it when I get to it. But
Yeah.
my kids have to be the first priority. It's
Yeah.
not easy. It's a challenge. It's a big challenge, Rick, and only recently has it really started to affect me. It's
Yeah.
really started to affect, and other ways too, in my personal life and stuff. And I really had to check myself, because the stress was just really starting to overwhelm me, if you
Yeah.
will. And I attribute a lot of it to the building of this house. This house project is nearly complete. You saw it when it was a good way underway, but now it's really getting there. So
Yeah.
I got to get it done, because that, on top of everything else, has just really been a crushing weight, really. So it's reared its ugly head, and even in my personal life, you know what I mean. I've cracked a couple times and had to
Yeah.
get a hold of myself. Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
lose your temper, or this or that, and you're like, you know what, this is not good. I
Yeah.
recognize it right away.
Yeah. Well, so you're not drinking. That's not a coping
Not at
skill.
all.
No,
Not
that's good.
not
Some
at all. I
Thank
don't
God.
do never did drugs in my life. I don't drink. I'll have a drink every now and then, an occasional drink, but no, no, not at all. Not at all. I get satisfaction out of getting stuff done,
Yeah.
basically.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely, remarkable how you single parents can make this happen, with more than one child. It's I just, hats off, or hat off. I mean, you know, um I can't imagine. I can't imagine the like it's incredible. When people say, I don't have time to do X, like, why didn't you
Right.
do
Oh
something? Oh,
yeah.
I just didn't have enough time. And I
Mm-hmm.
detest that as an excuse, because I think it's an excuse. I think that there is as much
Yeah.
time as you possibly want there to be. And
Yeah.
your case is, perfect example where you have just so
Yeah.
much going on, including
Yeah.
not just tasks, but the very particular and unique task um, of engaging emotionally with two little guys.
Yeah.
That's just a different task.
Yep. Yep. You're not kidding. On top of everything else, that has to be done to run the grocery shopping. Sometimes that gets put off because there just isn't time. What always drove me crazy is when, like you said, people say they don't have time, or they're busy, or they're too busy, or this or that. I say, you're too busy. I should live a day in my life.
That's
You
right.
know, um,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I guess it's all how you I don't know. What do they say? It's relative, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great to hear from a single dad. I mean, it's great to hear from you, man. I'm so glad that you're here because I mean,
Hmm.
the vast majority of single parents are women, and they
Yeah.
make it happen. And talk about
Yes.
unsung heroes. I mean, the single women that are doing it on their own. That there's so much of the world population like that, single
Hmm.
mothers, more than one child, three, four, five,
Yep.
sometimes. How does And so, I
It.
mean, obviously, we know that the more children that she has to take care of, the more that are neglected emotionally, at the very least. So there's just no way around it.
Yep. Yep. It was an eye opener. I said to myself, you know, how do all these women do it? There's a lot more of them, in from what I've seen, than there are of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. You just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you said something that I think is so important to remember here. In tackling any complex task, we have to have a clear why, and why are you doing this? Because that's going to be the driver. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that time is running out. They're getting older by the second,
Yeah.
literally. And there's a window of opportunity that if you don't take advantage of now, because they're
Right.
still little, even at 13 he's still little, that
Hmm.
when later, like you said, when they're maybe switching to their 20s, you'll have missed the opportunity to really truly
Yeah.
make a meaningful connection, and they're
Yeah.
not going to be around later because
Yeah.
there was no connection made
Yeah.
when it really mattered.
Yeah. I try to say I'm trying to cement that bond right now while they're young, and really, really cement it in place, and hopefully that'll carry through into their adult lives. I always felt, that my job is to raise, let me say, how to say this here, responsible, functioning, independent adults.
Yeah.
My job is to create an independent, smart, well-rounded, independent adult that could take care of himself, and then one day others too.
Yeah.
That's my job. And I always felt like if I baby them too much, and spoon feed them, nursemaid them, they're not going to be able to think or to learn consequences of their actions, and things of that nature. So that's my job, is to raise an independent, well-rounded adult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also so crucial in this conversation. I'm so happy that you're bringing it up. Um, what is the job? What's the job? And you're describing it. You're
Yeah.
right. You're describing what it is. Like, here's what the fatherhood job is, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that they are, like what you just said, right?
Yeah.
List them again, to make sure that they are independent, responsible. What are some of the
Yeah.
other items?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see here: independent, responsible, well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to, create a responsible, well-rounded individual in
Yeah.
society.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just want to, really, that's it, a well-rounded adult, that's
It's
able
a
to take care of himself and
Right.
others.
Right, able to take care of himself and others. So
Yeah.
that's the daily target. This is what I think a lot of us are missing, in our own lives, but definitely too often as fathers. Like,
Mm.
if we talk about that, the fatherless culture, right, or the men that are abandoning their children, they might find the tasks to be too overwhelming. But it might just be easier to narrow down what the target is. Like, if you were to go back in, try to re-engage, especially if they're little. Um, why why are you re-engaging? Well, because you want to help someone new, a baby, right, a child. You want to help someone new become independent, responsible,
Mhm.
well-rounded, right? So the question is, if you as a dad have those targets, then the rest of your life is easier, because you know what it is that you have to do every single day.
Yeah.
You wake up to those targets, right? Meaning
Yeah.
that, for instance, you're talking about the need for love, right? Someone well-rounded will be emotionally healthy. That
Yeah.
means that when you wake up in the morning, if the children are awake, or if it's your job to wake them up or whatever, give them a hug, give them a kiss, tell them to wake. No, so wake them up gently, because there's
Yeah.
no need to.
Yeah. Yep.
Nobody likes to be, jarred
Yep.
out of sleep.
Yep.
Waking up, give them a little kiss, you know, touch her, whatever. Like, be gentle with them and show them love in whatever way you want, and then
Hmm.
tell them, you gotta get up,
Yep.
you gotta get dressed, go brush your teeth. I want to see
Yep.
you at the dining room table ASAP, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's how
Yep.
we do it. That's how I do it.
Yep. Yep. Sometimes I'll jump in bed with Reed. I'll rub his back. I'll rub his head a little bit, and help him wake up slowly. And that's exactly what I do.
Right, right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because, oh, you disappeared.
Oh, yeah. I got a call coming in. Let me just end this. Hold on 1 second. Okay, that'll bring you back, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
there you are.
you're back. Yeah. So that's it. Why would you jump in bed to be and to be like to show affection? Well, because it's part of being well rounded, right? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so the people that are criticizing you because you're saying to you're saying, Reed, you got to do this better. They're only looking at that moment, which
That's
is
right.
which is the
Yeah.
moment when you're being when you're going to the other side of the well rounded, which is, well, he needs instruction,
Mm-hmm.
direction. What else? There's something else in there. Um, you're well. There's so much that you're doing at that moment, right? Including, I mean, there's got to be so much more that I'm not listing, right? But so it's oh, that's what the issue is. You can't be rough, stern, in anger, or without love.
Right.
That's what a lot of people who are criticizing you are not seeing. And this, because I know this about you, right? I mean, I know that
Mm-hmm.
you're the loving, caring guy. Other people
Right.
might be looking at this single dad and going, there's no love there. But
Mm-hmm.
they can say whatever they want. The point of the conversation here is that you're trying to balance both.
Right. 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 Yep. Without a doubt. And it's a private thing. It's a personal thing. But yeah, I absolutely try to balance it. I find myself a lot of times trying to save them from harm, or walking on you know, a lot of times, they're walking on on a wall or something. I say, Reed, be careful. You could fall off of there. Or I'll tell them to just get down, because I see it coming. I
Yeah.
see, I seem to be able to predict the future when it comes to some of these things. You see the disaster that awaits, and I'll tell them a couple times, and then when they still don't heed the warning, I say, Reed, it's okay. Some kids, or Frankie in this case, some kids just have to learn the hard way. I'll tell them, and I say that sometimes is the best teacher. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you to not do that anymore. You'll find out when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so sometimes. The best teacher is life itself, and
Right.
we don't want to see our kids get hurt
Right.
or
But
anything
but
like that, but
but you're right.
you got to
Ultimately,
something.
yeah. Ultimately, for me, my whole life, I have always thought that the best time for my children to fall and hurt themselves is when I'm around. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why, because I want them to learn the lesson, right? So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't push them. I'm just, I don't discourage them from doing things that that many people, including my wife, would be against, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
walking on the wall, and like in my own wall, right? Whatever that might be,
Mm-hmm.
like doing something that
Mm-hmm.
that that where they could hurt themselves. As I see that happening, I'm like, I'm right here. If they
Mm-hmm.
fall, I have a pretty good, like, I'm already processing, well, where's the nearest hospital?
Yeah.
Do I have my first
Yeah.
aid kit in the car? Where are my keys? Can I pick this guy up? Hurry to
Mm-hmm.
wherever I have to go. So that's how I'm seeing, because I do value that lesson should it happen. But at this
Yeah. Yeah.
but in my case, Frank, I noticed that um more often than not, the kids never fell.
Mm-hmm.
But those are just parenting differences,
Right.
right? Which yours is perfect for you. It works. And again,
Mm-hmm.
you are a single parent. If your kid hurts himself, the entire family is out of
Mm-hmm.
the groove. You're all now in the hospital.
Right.
Both boys, everything, your entire life has stopped. When something
Yeah.
happens to my kid, my wife continues the family life,
Right. Right.
The
Yeah.
house, the family, the other child, everything that's going on. Like I basically leave the game play, right, for
Mm-hmm.
whatever time I'm in that penalty box, and then I come back in, and and then I just align.
Right.
It's different when you're a single parent.
Yeah.
you
Sure
you,
is.
you
Yeah.
don't want them. You don't and this is what's hard about being a single parent, is, as I'm seeing it, is you don't want additional issues to deal with.
No. No.
To and like a broken arm, for instance, is something that you don't have to deal with just for a few hours at the hospital in the emergency room, but it's a freaking broken arm for however many months,
Yep. Yep.
right?
And I've tried to. I used to be, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, and I pulled back quite a bit because, like you said, chances are they're not going to get hurt anyway. But you don't want to be a nag. But what are you going to do? You learn. I try. I'm introspective. I'm always evaluating myself, what I do, what I say. Um, what can I say?
Introspection is,
I do the best I can.
yeah. No, I think you're doing better than that. I mean, I think doing the best I can is sort of a way, it's the weird way of minimizing the great work that you're doing. I think that
Oh, thanks. I
introspection,
appreciate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, introspection is a big deal. I mean, you used a
Yeah.
really big word, um,
Mm-hmm.
because in introspection, you're thinking, how is my behavior affecting their development?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Always. I'm always thinking that
How
maybe
is
too much.
No,
Maybe I lose maybe I'm not even in the moment sometime because I'm, self-evaluating.
no. I don't know. Maybe. I doubt it. Honestly, I. Well, you may be talking. You may have said that to the wrong guy, because it's literally it's all I do. But it
Right.
doesn't bother me. I'm not bothered because like, if you could see this room, if you could see the books, every single book in this room exists so that I'm, one, the best possible person that I can be. Two,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the best possible dad to each child, because they have different personalities that I can be.
Right.
Three, that I'm
Right.
the best possible husband to my wife. And we're adults that are still growing and developing, and so there's a real need for introspection daily.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
don't think of it as a bad thing. Somebody might listen to this and say, dude, that's exhausting. But
Mm-hmm.
how else can you do it well? How else can you do it to
Yeah.
the best of
I
your
don't think you
abilities?
can.
No.
I think a lot of people don't evaluate themselves at all. They just kind of go through life like animals, just kind of reacting.
Yeah.
Going. I don't know, just reacting to stimulus. I don't know.
Reacting to
I don't
stimulus,
think they
sure.
think twice. I don't think they think twice about their actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or how it
Yeah.
affects anybody else.
And that's a big deal. That's a big deal, especially when you have
Yeah.
children, like you said, so I would say that a key insight that comes out of this part of the conversation is, for all men out there listening to this, you need to stop every day. Just take stock every day. Stop
Mm-hmm.
and think, what am I doing with my wife or my ex-wife, right? Because you're co-parenting, and then what am I doing with each one of my children? How am I doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I've said it many times. Ask, every time I ask my especially my oldest is the most outspoken. Every time I ask him how I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
I always get
Right.
punched. I always get punched in the gut because I don't like the answers.
Yeah.
So even a guy
Right.
who's introspective, literally, constantly, like, I don't disengage from it. I still get criticized.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, because your children's lives are not yours. they're
Mm-hmm.
they have their own independence and individuality, and they want to be independent and individuals, and they want to be respected as such. Whether they're 2 years old, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, forever your children want to be their own people, and our job literally has to be, let me, like what you have been doing,
Mm, yeah.
how can I make this guy be the best himself ever, right? And it comes, sometimes
Yeah.
you have to make decisions that they don't like, because they're children.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're
Yeah.
gonna be home by 9,
Yep.
Otherwise, you're not going back out with your friends.
Yep, yep. Another one you could sort of relate to skateboarding. I know you love skateboarding with your kids, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Frankie's really he's gotten into it substantially since you last saw him and you guys were skateboarding. Now he goes up the hill here by my house and he comes whizzing down like fast. And he goes, past my house. You come down that hill and he goes until he's out of sight. He goes down the street. And it's a terrible road for cars, dangerous, everything. But he is, picking up speed. He just started, I said, start at the bottom of the hill and next run, go a few steps up. And now he's at the top of the hill. And he doesn't want to wear a helmet. And I'm torn. I'm like, I want him to be safe, but I never wore a helmet either when I was a kid. So he wasn't really going too fast or too crazy. But I saw him the other day and he was whizzing. And I'm thinking, God, if he falls or hits a little stone in the road, he can smack his head on the ground and life can change forever.
I
So
know.
just yesterday, I said, Frank, if you're going to be going up that hill and skateboarding that fast, I said, you need to wear this helmet. If nothing else, wear the helmet. And this, that. And I said, look, that's all I'm asking. You want to do it? If you don't like this helmet, go buy a cool skateboard helmet or something, but you got to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
anyway, that's just a little thing I want to throw in
No,
there.
I like that conversation. It's not a little thing at all.
Yeah.
I want to tell you that I had a get together with a bunch of dads from town the other night, and I
Hmm.
took a lot of heat because they, all these every dad there, when they came over to the house, we got the fire pit going, and basically they're saying no, all kids have to wear helmets, and I took some
Hmm.
some heat because my oldest doesn't like to wear them. I actually neither, and I
Hmm.
haven't pushed them because of the same reason that you're saying. Look, when I
Yeah.
grew up,
Yeah.
but they made a good point. They're like, yeah, but when we were kids there were no helmets, they just didn't
Hmm.
exist.
Right.
So now, so it's interesting because it's that old idea that we'll do the best you can with the information that you have today, and when you have more
Yeah.
information, do better. And I
Yeah.
and so I listened to them. I try to push my kids to wear the helmets. I didn't push them too
Hmm.
hard,
Yeah.
and then I realized that, and this was just recently, a conversation that I've been having with out of these conversations that I've been having with dads, I realized that so much of what our children do has to do with what they see us do, right? What have we
Hmm.
modeled?
Right.
Because this the spoken word or communication is so much less than our behaviors, than
Right. Right.
being and
Right.
modeling.
Right.
So this past Sunday, when I took my oldest to the skate park in West New York, um, the first thing we did was that we went to the store. I picked up the coolest helmet that I thought that, so that I won't, because that's part of it. It's like I'm gonna look dorky in this thing,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
go pick something up that's cool. So I did that, and I'm like, I'm wearing mine, and now you got to wear yours. And
Hmm.
it was really interesting. When I wore mine, his came on easily.
Yes.
I didn't have to there was no argument. So it's so
Hmm.
interesting how even at 13, the modeling is very much still there. They're
Hmm.
still looking up and going, oh, if he's doing it, then I must do it.
That's
Right.
right. Yep. Yep. Right. Do what do they say? Do as I do as
Yeah.
I say, not as I do. That was the saying, right?
And
Yeah.
that's
I
and
could totally relate.
the negative side of this, and we're seeing this in the positive, right? If I wear the helmet, he wears the helmet. The negative side to this is any of dad's negative coping skills. How much are you drinking? Is your
Hmm.
son seeing you drinking every night, at least one
Right.
beer?
Right.
Are you smoking? Are you smoking? Even if you're smoking outside of the house, is your son, I'm sorry, seeing dad smoke
Mm. Yeah.
daily? So will you be able to tell your son to not drink and to not
Hmm.
smoke?
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, my kids never pick up those habits. It's interesting, my father did both really, and I didn't follow in that footsteps. I didn't care for either one really. Maybe it's because if I have a couple too many drinks, I get a terrible headache. That probably works in my favor. But yeah, yeah, it's interesting to see how these guys are going to turn out, and hopefully they don't smoke or drink to deal with things.
To deal with,
But
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think just being a good role model is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge.
um I want to share, if it's okay with you, some of the cool things you do. You have had a love for motorcycles for a long time, and you've had dirt bikes
Right,
for a long time, and now you and your
right,
boys go out on dirt bikes.
right.
Share with us a little bit about that.
Dirt biking. What do you want to know here? We started dirt biking with the kids anyway. When Frankie was really young, maybe 5, I got him a little dirt bike. In New Jersey, there's really
Five.
no place to ride motorcycles around here. And a good friend of mine named John, said, "You're welcome to bring the kids up to my house and ride around anytime you want." In his yard, he had a huge property, and we used to go up there all the time, ride dirt bikes. When Reed got a little older, got him a dirt bike, and I got myself a little yard bike, let's say, because my dirt bikes are just too big and loud and obnoxious. So I got myself a little yard bike to ride around with him, and we've been doing it ever since.
So here's
Yeah,
something that blows my mind, right? For yours,
yeah,
you just said that your son was 5 years old when he was riding
right.
a dirt bike.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, yeah. They make little dirt bikes for little kids, automatic clutches, and you could just put it in like second gear and gas and go. It's fantastic. A funny story. My friend John, same guy, wanted to get his son when his son was very young a dirt bike, and his wife was no, 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 no way, no way you can have a motorcycle. So he takes her to the motorcycle shop, and he says, here's the bike I'm thinking about getting for my son, our son. And she looked at it, and she's like, "Oh, that little thing? I don't care." Right? So they're tiny, they're small, and with proper equipment and riding in the grass, they fall over, and it's like nothing. But I made sure
Yeah.
he had the boots, he had the gear, the elbow pads, the helmet, the gloves, and with that proper gear, um, they're protected. That motorcycle can land on their leg, they can get stuck underneath it, and they're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, going back to the starting, I said, Frankie, you got to learn how to ride a bicycle before you could ride a motorcycle. That was
Uh,
the one thing he had to do. And we've been doing it ever since. And I ride with the boys. And one thing I am guilty of riding that little yard bike, I don't always put my helmet on. And that's, again, the role model thing. So there are times where I do put it on. And lately I have been putting it on because I noticed now Frankie's getting a little bigger. He's thinking, well, if I ride Reed's bike, which is smaller than my bike, I don't
yeah.
need a helmet either because Daddy doesn't wear a helmet when he rides his. So
Yeah.
I've caught Frankie a couple
Yeah.
times riding without a helmet, and I stop him dead and I say, "What are you doing?" Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So yeah. Being a good role model, the helmet thing, it's important. Um, yeah, dirt bikes, we love them. I put myself through college as a motorcycle mechanic, because that's where we met.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Right. You came into the shop there, but I love motorcycles, and we do it a lot. Not so much lately, but we do
Yeah.
it a lot. I got these guys into archery, compound bows, so we
Yeah.
shoot archery. Yeah, yeah, yeah. BB guns, all kinds of cool stuff. Go karts,
Yeah.
hockey, rollerblading, all that stuff.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
The archery. You know, we went up to a friend's a property up in New York State, and the boys shot the bows.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't seem all that. We shot some clay birds with the 12 gauge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my oldest was more interested than the younger in that, but that seemed to appeal. The 12 gauge was more appealing than the bow for I think
Mm-hmm.
for either.
Right.
Um, but yeah, ultimately, so many of these things that mothers wouldn't do,
Right.
wouldn't do
That's
it.
true. I
Yeah,
think about that. Had things worked the other way around, if I had been the one who got sick, would these boys be doing the stuff that they're doing now?
yeah.
Or would they just be, stuck inside, limited to, video games and whatever else? I don't
Uh-huh.
know. I don't know the answer to that.
I,
How
I,
would life be different? How might they be different? I don't know.
yeah, it's a good question. I don't. What kinds of things did I do with my mom? Because I grew up with a single parent. She took me, but I mean, she exposed me to some things, but nothing like this. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah,
because it's just not. I don't think it's like really their thing. I mean, that's a
right.
broad generalization. I'm sure that there are moms that are out there doing the bows and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I think the I can't imagine my wife letting the boys, ride dirt bikes. So doing
Right.
half of the, or thinking of, taking them to do half the things that I have them do. Like tonight we're going rock climbing indoors because
Mm-hmm.
we're prepping to hit the real rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, I can't imagine my wife climbing up on, like, or even thinking of bringing him to the rocks and sitting down and watching him do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a perfect example of what I'm saying. Fatherhood isn't motherhood. It's about
Yeah.
it's about for and this is interesting because for both genders, right? For both mom or dad, or and this is interesting. Even in whatever situation, whatever, yeah, maybe that's a whole other conversation. But where as a parent, let's just do that. Let's just go straight to, as a parent, you want to attempt to achieve a balance, right? Understand your target, understand your goal. Like we said it before: independent, responsible, well-rounded. Whether you're a mother or a father, what does that
Mm-hmm.
mean, right? What does that look like in your mind?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what they said, I think the words I was looking for is a fully functional member of
Yeah.
society.
Yeah. Sure.
you know, responsible adult, that type of thing.
Yeah. And
Those are some of the things I was missing earlier. That point I was trying to make. Like a
yeah.
fully functioning member of society.
Yeah.
Not a dropout, a misfit,
Yeah.
a derelict. That kind of thing. Somebody who can make meaningful contributions to society.
My yeah, yeah. My one cousin Pacho, he mentioned, he said something, forgive me. He said something interesting. He said just what you said, and it just sounds so good. It's something like, I'm forgetting the exact words, but very much you what you want to do is it's help someone so that they're ready to, like, getting somebody ready to function well within
Yeah.
your environment, right? Like
Right.
prep them so that they know what to do, what not to
Yeah.
do, how to
Yeah.
behave, how not to behave, right?
Mm-hmm.
have Teach them everything that they can possibly need so that they can make great decisions,
Right.
right?
Right.
And ideally contribute positively to
Yeah.
your society.
Isn't there, and contrary to that, isn't there a movie like Failure to Launch
Oh
or
yeah,
something
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
There
But
is, there is,
some
yeah.
guy that like never leaves his house or something like that.
I think that's Matthew. I don't know, I'm not sure. But um so yeah, having a target, you know and being, yeah, when you decided to balance out your tough side, classic masculine, with gentle, caring, loving, were you able to transition easily from, like, at birth, to be able to be loving? Did you have to think about it? Did you have to think, okay, I need to be loving and caring?
No, not at all. It sort of came naturally, but it became I don't know. It's like my focus really. After my wife passed away, because they just didn't have that softness, that 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 woman, in their life. So I had to really focus on it. But no, I've always been an affectionate kind of person in my relationships with the kids, all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, it came natural. Yeah,
yeah,
it came
yeah.
natural to me too. I didn't really
Hmm.
have to. Um, just as as being tough and like and strict on certain things came natural,
Right.
hugging and
Yep.
kissing
Yep.
and telling them.
Yep.
Do you also tell them that, like, do you verbalize that you love them? Do you say I
Oh,
love you?
all the time,
Yeah,
all
okay.
the time, and they say it back. I used to say to Frankie when he was a little kid, I said, Frankie, I said, you gonna let me give you hugs and kisses even when you're a big boy? Oh yeah, Daddy, of course, Dad, of course. I'll always like that. Right now that he's 13, he's kind of like, ah,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. I knew that would come. Um,
Yeah,
it's funny when I'm with the kids, it's really something. I have a really good friend of mine that I grew up with, and him and his father were very close. And I never saw, like, even as an adult, my good friend, his dad would hug him and kiss him, and it was so like foreign to me
yeah,
because my dad and I love him, he loves me, but it's like we're not, that affectionate, touchy feely. Even to shake hands sometimes with my father feels awkward, if you can believe it. It's really weird. So I make it a point whenever they're at my dad's house is go give Pop up a hug and a kiss, So that's something we never had, that kind of bond. So I make sure the kids have that with him. But when I'm with my kids, I don't care who's looking, who's around. I'm with them. I don't care about anything. I'll give them hugs, kisses. It just everything's right when I'm with them.
yeah,
It just comes naturally.
yeah, yeah. I don't wait for the right moment um for hugs. What I'll do is, um you know, whenever I think of it, it's just like, like, for instance, like, today I might be home and they may be on the computer gaming or whatever. I'll go in the room and I'm like, come on, stand up, stand up. I'm getting a
Hmm.
hug now.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Get stand up, and
Yep.
they know what's going on. So, like, headset off, and they get up, and
Yeah.
then I'll give them a hug. If I waited for the right moment, it would literally never happen. Like,
Yeah.
when's the right moment to hug somebody? I don't know, when
Yeah.
something bad
Yeah.
happened or when both people are
Yeah.
feeling emotional. No, it's just like, you know what? I know I got to do the hug because I'm
Yeah.
feeling it, because it'll be fine, because it'll be good for the both of us.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that whenever I think of it, whenever I remember it, which is often, I will
Hmm.
say, okay, stop, come here, give me a hug, and that's it, and there's
Yeah.
the hug,
Yeah.
and it's needed, it's needed.
Yeah. 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 You gotta, that even as a baby, right? That skin on skin contact,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
it's
important.
important. Yeah. Yeah.
Frank, hang on one second. I
Yeah.
need to I need to plug this
Yeah.
computer in. I forgot that it was not.
Yeah. No problem.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Um, so very cool, man. So you do a lot of stuff with these guys. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know how you find the time to make
You
these
know,
things happen.
you know what? I always say we're not really good at any of the stuff we do, but we do it all. That's what I say.
Yeah,
We're not pro expert motocross riders. We're not excellent fishermen. We're not excellent anything, but we have fun doing it and we try to do it all. We're
yeah,
not great hockey players. We're not great football, baseball players, but we do it all. We really try to do it all.
yeah,
Not as often or as much as I would like. Canoeing, kayaking, another thing we do a lot.
yeah,
Um, I wish I could do it more, but we do it. So that's the important thing.
yeah.
We're not great expert at anything, but we do all the things.
So is there anything that you could share about? I mean, I, about the is a single dad, who I'm sure would like to um have a loving woman by his side, and can you share on the complexities of introducing a woman to your children?
I don't think there's a whole lot of complexity. I think people probably over analyze it or overcomplicate it. Maybe I met an excellent woman not that long ago, Amy. I love her. uh, introduced her to the boys. She's introduced me to her kids, and it's been fantastic. So we're looking forward to a lot of good things together. I don't know. I don't think there's a whole lot of complication to it. I do think it's important, though, that they see a certain level of affection between me and her, so that they know how to treat a woman one day. Um, the hugs, the kisses, buy her flowers, show her respect, that
Mm,
type of stuff. Tell her you love her, that type of stuff. I think it's very important for my boys to see how you're supposed to treat a woman,
yeah,
you know, and
yeah,
and I think, for her girls, it's probably important for them to see how a man treats mom,
yeah,
and for her girls to see, this is the way a man should treat a woman. This is how someone treats my mom, so that maybe when they grow up, they find someone who
yeah,
treats them well,
yeah,
kind of a role model type of thing. And
yeah,
so we don't hide, our affections, a hug, a kiss, that type of thing. It's just, it's out in the open. I think
yeah,
it's very, very important, but the complexity of introducing somebody, I don't think so. If you find someone who's a good person, and, I wouldn't be with anybody if I didn't think they were. So
mm,
put it that
yeah,
way.
yeah. Did did
Yeah.
you did you prep them before she came over?
Let me think. I don't know. I can't remember,
Okay,
honestly.
okay,
I really can't remember. Actually, I think we had met out. I think we met out at a diner once with one of her girls. So it was brief, a brief hello, hi, how you doing? We had a little dinner, and I guess that's how the introduction sort of went.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you had a conversation with either boy? Maybe the only the one thing that comes to mind is um I wonder if, and I haven't studied anything about this, but I wonder if they
Mm.
might be thinking, is mom being forgotten or replaced?
Oh no, I don't think so. I
No.
don't think so. We've got some pictures in their room, and I always make it a point to, and I don't harp on it, but I always make it a point to, if something comes up, that their mom liked or that their mom did, I always make it a point to bring it up.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
what's nice is, no, there's never a thing of you're being replaced, you're being forgotten. Not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. You'll never be forgotten, never be replaced. But and Amy's super supportive of all that stuff. She's wonderful, and
Yeah.
she just fit right in, and
Yeah.
looking forward to a lot of good things. I really am very, very hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that what you within what you're saying, what I'm picking up is that we're not hiding anything.
That's right.
It's all out
That's
in the
right.
open.
Right. That's right. Right. Within reason. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Within reason. Yeah.
yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
It's best practice. I mean, in adoption cases, the child needs to know that she had another mom, had another dad, and for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason they
Yeah.
were not able to care for them, and now
Mm-hmm.
they have a new mom and a new dad. um
Mm-hmm.
Often I think that many people might want the child to not know, um and but then when the child does find out, it's a big long lie. you know
That's right. That's complicated. If you want to talk about complications, I can't imagine having to
yeah,
deal with that. Sure.
yeah, yeah. And it is difficult, but it does happen. It does happen quite often. So I mean, again,
Mm-hmm.
the idea for the millions of children that are growing up in this situation um to not be told the truth is, it's just it's silly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in that quite a bit. When their mom was sick, we didn't lie about it. We didn't hide it. We talked to them. We certainly simplified and brought it down to their level. And as the disease progressed and it became evident that, this is probably going to take her life, then we had to sort of, start talking about that. And,
Yeah.
and we did. And I think it was all for the better.
Yeah.
I don't believe in hiding stuff. I know people who have kids. These kids are now teenagers, and for all I know, the teenager still thinks that the dog ran away. They never
Ah,
told they never told the kid the dog died,
yeah,
because they didn't
yeah,
want to hurt the child. I said, look,
yeah,
you know, they have to learn, life and death,
yeah,
and that type of stuff. So, the truth, you don't smack them in the face with it, but you try to bring it down to a level they can understand.
yeah,
I used to talk about the cancer is kind of like a germ, and mommy's got this germ in her head, and, the doctors are, going to take it out and give her some medicine, and hopefully they can get rid of it. But sometimes this germ comes back, and then the conversation progressed to, well, you might have heard this word before, but that germ in
yeah,
mommy's head that's called cancer. And a
yeah,
cancer sometimes they could fix it, and sometimes they can't. And sometimes you could die from it. And
yeah,
but we don't know if that's going to happen. And then eventually, when it became evident, it was like, this thing called cancer.
yeah,
It's getting mommy. Like sometimes they could beat it, sometimes they could hold it off, but sometimes they can't.
yeah,
And yeah, so it was tough, but we don't sugarcoat. We always talk pretty much the truth about things.
yeah,
And I think it's for the better. I think they appreciate that. you know
yeah.
I think they appreciate it.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I think that the term that you might be that would be useful to bring up is age appropriate.
Right. Yeah.
That's what you're saying. You're like, well, I'm not saying everything, and I'm
Right.
not dumping it all in one sitting. But little by little, you build up on it, and
Yeah.
that's what people need. People need to
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
understand it in a simple, in a way in which it's not gonna do more harm. Is
Yeah.
that's what age appropriate is.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. We bring it down to their level, kind of simplified. I physically get down. When they were little, I would squat down, get down, so my eyes are level with their eyes.
Yeah,
I don't talk to them from way up here.
yeah,
I always would get down on their level, and
yeah.
literally and figuratively. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've always done that. I'm glad that you mention it. It's so important for all men to realize, where these, towering,
Right.
loud,
Right. Oh yeah.
big things,
Yeah.
and just so when you want to talk to your child, I've always said it, man. You gotta take a knee,
Yeah.
squat, sit, whatever, man. Just come down to the level, and it's got to be so much friendlier to have as a child to have your dad at this level.
Yeah.
He immediately he must be a lot less threatening, right?
Yeah.
Because the gesture itself of taking the knee or squat or sitting, the gesture itself shows the child that this is safe time.
Yeah.
Save time. It's like it's such a great uh thing that you're communicating safety. No matter what it is that you're going to say, the child feels safe because you don't have
Yeah.
a giant towering over you.
Right.
Mm,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully, as they get older, we can have those adult conversations that still need to be had.
yeah,
Um, about growing up and getting older and
yeah,
all kinds of other stuff. Yeah. So that's still on the horizon. We'll see how that goes. But
yeah,
I've always attacked things head on, as challenging as they may be, or as much as I don't want to do it. I just, you know, get in there and do it.
yeah,
Get it done, pretty much. I just attack it, and there's a problem, I want to solve it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
That I
that's
try not to avoid it.
classic man, I think,
Yeah.
right? Classic male
Yeah.
behavior, which is fine. Again,
Yeah.
we're not women, we're not mothers. This is
Hmm.
how we function, and that's okay, right? I think that some of what I keep, I have all these books on parenting and fatherhood, and some of what that continues to I don't know, to pop in my head is this idea that we're being judged against another gender, or like someone other than
Yeah.
us,
Right.
another gender. That would be it. Like, again, I'm not a mother, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not, you're not a mother, and it's okay, Frank. It's okay that you're not a mother,
Yeah.
right? You're a father, and that's cool. Do it your way, right?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as, again, as long as you're trying to achieve the balance between teach, again,
Always.
your
Yeah.
target, right? Keeping your target in mind. You have tough and, not tough, but maybe stern, because there's
Mm-hmm.
lessons that we have to teach, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there also has to be the time to show affection and love,
Right.
right? Identify your
Yeah.
target and balance both of these. That's what
Yeah.
we got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time. And I, I do that. I think I do it well. Um, I guess opinions vary, but like you said, a lot of times people don't see that soft side. That's at nighttime, at bedtime, quiet
Mm,
time. There's nobody else around. Nobody sees that.
right.
That
Yeah,
type of thing. It's in the morning when you wake up. It's on the weekends, that type of stuff. Yep.
that's
Yep.
not going up on Facebook.
Right. That's right. That's
That
right. Very private with that stuff. And that whole thing is a whole other topic. We don't need to get into it now, but yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. It's private, and a lot of things are private for me, and I pray a lot too. I really do. That brings me tremendous peace. But again, that's just a private aspect of my life. I don't put it out there. I don't force it on people, and because I don't like it when it's forced or pushed on me,
yeah.
you know. But yeah,
Prayer is
yeah, that's it.
powerful. I had no idea of all this time that I've known you. I had no idea that you prayed.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And that again came from my mother. My mother, when she was sick, would pray all the time. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
And it it's helped me get through some tough times. And I attribute really the inner peace that I have, I attribute it to that. I really do.
yeah,
Yeah, given what we've gone through, it hasn't been easy, but that made it easier.
yeah, yeah. I think that you've shared so much valuable information. Is there anything I've missed? Is there maybe advice that you could give to a dad out there that's similar to you, trying to engage, maybe feels a little frustrated?
Boy, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to express yourself
Mm,
with these kids. I don't know. I think a lot of people can't express themselves. I think that's a problem. Um, I don't know. Stick to what you say. Don't go back on your word. I see a lot of parents get played by their kids. Kids are the best salespeople in the world.
they're pretty
They
amazing.
know how they get what they want. They know how to get what they want. I think too many parents
Yeah.
give in, and I don't. I'm pretty tough when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and what can I say? I don't know. Do your
Yeah.
best. Yeah.
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 That
Do your best and engage them. Smother them with love and be stern. I think that's the two best things you could do.
yeah.
They'll know you mean what you say, but they'll also balance it out with the love.
Right, right, right. And I've said
Yeah.
this before. If you're not engaging with your babies now, and by babies I mean 2, 4, 6, 8, even
Yeah.
10. If you're not
Yeah.
engaging with your babies, again, 2 years old, 4 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, you're going. It's gonna be really hard for you to engage with them when they're adults.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of the parents, dads are probably uncomfortable. They don't know how to express themselves.
Mm,
Maybe,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
maybe they feel awkward.
Yeah, it wasn't modeled, and they just don't know how to do it, and
Maybe. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I definitely read a lot about that. It's just written like in all these fatherhood books, it's
Yeah.
always the same story, like they
Or,
just don't know, huh?
or maybe it's an excuse. Maybe, I have to think a lot of them just probably don't care. I bet you there's a lot of people out there that I always say in so many instances, I'll say either you don't know or you don't care.
Mm,
And it's one or the other. And I hazard to say a lot of times it's probably because they don't care. As much as I don't want to believe it, with
yeah,
regard to anything, how many people just don't care, whether it's about this, that, or the other thing.
yeah,
You know, I always say you either don't know or you don't care.
yeah.
And it's probably they don't care a lot of times.
I'm sure this, but I'm sure that I would use the Pareto law on caring for your own children. I would say that only as 10, 20% of the male population literally just has no interest in caring. But I think that
Yeah.
for the other 80 to 90%, I think that there's a way around it. Um, I think that a target is important. A lot of times, like I think about like, what's come out of today's conversation for me is quite valuable is this idea that the idea of the target, because you said it, you're like, you said it. I wanted to be independent, respectful, well-rounded, and fully so they can fully contribute to our community.
So yeah, society. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fully
So
functioning member of society. Yeah.
if as a dad that's trying to engage, whether you're co-parenting, meaning maybe you're not living in the home anymore, or you're living in the home, whatever, either way, and you don't know how to take that first step, maybe a year passed, like you separated from the family, from the wife, and a year has passed and you haven't been able to re-engage. Maybe your ex-wife has made it the last 12 months very, very difficult for you to come back in. um,
Right.
it doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter whether you did something wrong, or whether she's right or not. Now
Hmm.
a year has passed. Your children have gone from one age to the next already. An entire cycle has passed, and dad has been out. How can you re-engage? Well, what's the target? Do you have a target, and do you have a why? Why should you re-engage? Well, one, that your responsibility. Yeah. Two,
Sure.
having these kids as your lifelong friends will be pretty awesome. That's a great idea. That's a
Hmm.
great why, because I want to have
Yeah.
a relationship with these people that are, like that I brought into this world, right?
Yeah.
They're your responsibility, because you brought them in, and you need to teach them everything. Everyone shows up with this, like, with a blank slate. They have to be taught
Yeah.
everything, and they need you, dad. And they
Yeah.
need you, dad. Not They need you as a father. They need the father, because it's the other half, right? It's the other half. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, which I thought was so interesting, that a very, very great reason to as a single father to attempt to re-engage with a woman is because it's also for them. It's also because you're going to be teaching your children many of the lessons that they were robbed of when your wife
Yeah.
passed away.
Hmm.
There's so much that they haven't seen. How does a man behave with
Right.
a woman?
Right.
And you're now beginning to do that, as
Yeah.
you bring
Yeah.
someone else into the family, and they're going to
Hmm.
be seeing dad, and they're going to see, so I mean, they will have learned so much, how dad,
Hmm.
the oldest is going to have some memories of how you were behaved with his biological mother, and then in
Hmm.
the near future, possibly how dad behaves with my
Right.
new mother.
Right. Right. Right.
It's so important. I mean, it's good for you, and it's good for them as men. And if they were girls, for them as girls. Like, it's just in
Hmm.
all around good to bring
That's right.
somebody
Yeah.
some to bring somebody in who's healthy for the entire relationship, right?
Right. 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 Yeah. That makes every day better. Really.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's it. You
you
nailed it.
you gotta, yeah, you gotta ask yourself,
I
is today better because of them?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were such a sensitive guy. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. 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 Sometimes I think maybe too sensitive for my own good, but
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know about that. No, I didn't. Probably not.
Yeah. Probably not. Depends. Again,
That's
opinions vary, right?
that's right.
Yeah, you know what they say, everybody's got one.
Yeah. I got it. I know where you're going with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Wow, so very cool, man. What a great conversation.
Yeah, it's been good.
Kids, man, they change us, they improve, and that's the other thing, about talking about that dad that's trying to engage, that 80,
Yeah.
90% that's out there trying to do it right.
Hmm.
I have been saying for years that uh, you know, uh, not fully engaging in fatherhood is one of mankind's, maybe not mankind, one of mankind, what at least one of men's greatest missed opportunity. Not
Hmm.
engaging with your children, because what you're like you just said, engaging with your children, being a father and fathering is it's good for you. It
Yeah.
helps you grow, you expand, you grow, you're more empathetic, you become more loving, you care for somebody other than yourself. You live and make decisions because someone else depends on your on how you live and what decisions you make. That's
Right.
an expansion of one's reality and one's life.
Yeah.
Engaging is do it selfishly. Do it for engage with your children for selfish reasons. Do it for yourself because it makes you a better human being.
Hmm.
We don't talk a lot about this because we're like, well, they take up work. I have to do too much for them. I'm really tired when I get home, and all the laundry list of excuses for not engaging with the children. When the reality is the first and foremost, the one person that you're absolutely hurting is yourself.
Hmm.
When you get home and you say, I'm too tired to play with my child, you're hurting yourself. And then you're hurting them.
Yeah.
Your responsibility. But first and foremost, you hurt
Yeah.
yourself when you don't engage.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't give this opportunity. Like think about how much you have done. Like I can speak for myself, but you look how much more frank you are. That's a funny name.
Yeah.
That was like an interesting. I didn't mean. I mean, think about how much more
Hmm.
you have become because you have embraced this opportunity.
Yeah.
Where would we be in our late 40s if we were like, nah, we're not interested,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Probably full of regret one day.
I think so.
At some point. At some point.
Yeah, yeah. If
No,
yeah,
it's been a great ride, and it continues to be. But it'll change. It'll change one day, and I'll be sitting here,
yeah,
hoping I did a good job. Hopefully, they come back and say, "Hey, thanks,"
yeah.
and bring some grandkids around. That'd be nice, and get to watch it all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Very cool. Very cool, Frank. Well, I think, look, I think we can end it there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
yeah, you and I can talk all day, but
I
I
know.
think
I know.
we hit the nail right on the head.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, it was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Frank. I
Uh,
really, really appreciate it. Such a great conversation. I couldn't, I did not imagine it turning out this great. It's been awesome hanging with you
all
for
right.
this
Good.
hour plus, and getting to know you better than before. I love this story about your mom. I had no idea. I'm sorry I never asked.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mom is a huge influence, I think, on me,
Yeah,
really, and how I am and how I think and that type of stuff. Sure,
yeah,
sure. Yeah,
pretty
without
cool.
a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. Well, Rick, it's been a pleasure. I'm
Yeah,
glad I could help out, and look forward to seeing it up on the web.
yeah, definitely. I'll send
Sounds
you a
good.
link when it's up, and we got to get
Perfect.
together one of these days.
Hey, sooner the better. That'd be
Sooner or
great.
later. We'll do that,
All
brother.
right.